Oh, that looks
Yeah.
good.
Hey, welcome back, guys, to the Off the Clock Show. Joined again with your host, Shawn Gervais from OrbisX CRM, and Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing Podcast, which you guys had some killer episodes lately, and also Hyper Clean Car Care Products. And I'm not sure what you're sipping on there, but that was a nice pour.
Leinenkugel, summer shandy. I mean, it is summer, so.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, I'm celebrating summer a little differently. Well, I mean, not different for me, but I had to pick up some El Dorado because recently you had a bottle of El Dorado, and I was quite disappointed that I didn't. And my bottle was stolen, I'm going to say. Stolen from me at the airport because it was bought and paid for, just didn't have a receipt. Lesson learned. It's one of those life lessons. And I tell you this, I will never ever forget now. And even when I've seen people buying something in the duty free, as I'm walking by, I'm like, hey, make sure she puts the receipt in the bag. You know, I don't even know these people, but I'm just like I'm doing God's work here, you know, trying to save somebody's day. Yeah, man. But it was a tough lesson to learn, man. Tough lesson to learn. But
I took a lesson from you. Got some tequila this past weekend.
hey,
Hey.
so good. Hell yeah. Summertime too? Whew. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah. Oh, mate, a couple drinks. Yeah, did great. It was wonderful. I wish I had some great story to tell you, but I don't.
fair. Yeah.
When you're sitting at the house drinking tequila, you don't have a lot of great stories, you know. Just
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
made a good drink, you know. Did a good job.
Absolutely. But
I grabbed some. I made some stuff, but then I went the next day. I went to the store, got some mix.
oh,
Now
nice.
that's an interesting wall now. When you go to the mix section, all the
is.
different mixers that you can put in, you
There's a
go,
lot.
oh,
Yeah.
like, okay. But it turns out, of course, you got to buy the probably most expensive one. But it was like, listen, I'm not getting all the high fructose. I'm not getting all that stuff. Like, give me
Yeah.
cane sugar. Sure, organic, some stuff, wonderful.
It's true.
Is it
yeah.
organic? What is organic? Who knows? But at least all that fructose stuff was out of it, and all the
It's
stuff
true.
that'll
Yeah.
kill you is not going to be in there.
Yeah, 100%. Which is the most important part. That's why I usually, I love the taste of rum. So I'll have a glass of rum, something like that. But I always find myself reverting back to either vodka or tequila. Those are my two.
Yeah, I still
And
can't do vodka.
yeah, yeah. it depends though, but it depends on how you do it. So me, what I usually do for my vodka is little slices. I'll do lime sometimes, but most times just cucumber. And so I'll do like 1 ounce of vodka, let's say, and then I'll do 2 ounces of water. Believe it or not, and so it's almost just like a spiked water. It's nice. It's refreshing summer day,
I
but
I tried some of the from the garden. I tried some of the mint and stuff, and in the
oh hell
water. I
yeah,
tried that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. You got to be careful with that mint, though. Did you replant it in its own pot?
No,
No. Okay. Fair. Well, you're gonna have a garden full of mint.
it's
You gotta have
growing.
enough mint,
It's
though.
growing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. That's gonna. And the part that's growing the most that you don't see is actually underneath the ground. So.
So here's an interesting. Are you seeing this flash on my screen or not? It's okay.
No.
I think I broke my. I'm pretty sure I broke my screen earlier. Almost.
Oh, okay.
This guy was trying to get me. We were having a stock problems, and I was with that inventory management system we were doing. I was trying to like screenshot for him or something, and I dropped my laptop and grabbed it before it
Yeah.
fell. But it's
It's still the way you grabbed it. Maybe.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's messed up.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's pretty. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, because you just got the
I see
camera,
it.
right?
Yeah. But I
I'll
see it
send you a
here.
picture, and you can see. You'll see what I'm
See how
talking
messed
about.
up it is?
It's brutal. It's brutal. So here's interesting. Speaking of drinking, have you? I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you've tried any of them. There's a new wave. There's a brand new wave, and it's being pushed heavily by the young teenagers to 20-year-old, like whatever that generation is called now. I get lost with all the different stuff. Like that, there's a good chance and percentage if you did like out of 100, there's a good chance high percentage of those guys aren't drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
this is like the
yeah.
first generation. It's a big of enough movement It's like the first generation that any of us have known that they're really trying to sustain healthier lifestyle. And so there's all these mushroom. Have you seen those? All the
Okay.
mushroom drinks.
Yeah.
I ordered one from Drink Willie's, Willie Nelson, right?
Nice.
And it's
Yeah.
got THC, and it's got some other stuff in it, which is ironic that they can ship it across states. Hey,
That's
here we
true.
go.
That's yeah, yeah.
You know, they claim 10% THC, but yet they can ship it across the state lines. Wonderful. Maybe it's like state to states that's approved or something. I'm not sure how they get away with it. But their experience is horrific. So I don't know if you've tried it,
I haven't.
but
No.
having to reorder. I mean, they say 3 weeks. They say some 6 weeks. Like they can't. They say can't keep in stock. High rush
Yeah.
of big. It's like no, you come on, you idiots. Like what are y'all doing? You're starting this movement, and then you can't fulfill the orders.
Fulfill the orders. That's
Like
crazy.
oh, you're about to get like
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
else is gonna. Some
Someone's
big
gonna
guy's
step
going to
in
come
or
in and just tear it all apart.
yeah, that's crazy. That's the thing. You gotta have the inventory for it. And maybe they didn't see it coming and growing that fast, but that's just a growth problem. Like you
Oh,
just
they blame the heat,
the heat. Fuck, I've heard that before.
right? That's why I thought it was interesting, right? Interesting. Who complains about heat
It's so
and who
crazy.
just gets it done, right?
Ah, it's the heat. Jesus,
Interesting.
that's crazy, man. Like, yeah, I find that this new movement definitely is different, and I've seen it because like we've got a teenager.
Pretty bad,
I
huh?
was just looking at it. I was like, yeah.
Apologize, everybody. We had to pause because one of your Canadian orders was coming up to Canada. Dijon, it's on the way. Dijon was messaging me asking about the abrasives, right? Because we just launched our abrasives. Level is the cutting compound. Lux is the polish. And then I always mess up the name of our one step, but it's a great name. It's Velo.
Philo.
But from Arkansas, I mean from Oklahoma with bloodlines from Arkansas, right? I say all kinds of weird stuff in the middle. Like people are like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Shit." So is velo for like velocity.
Oh, I like it. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I think Latin. Is it Latin?
Yeah, it
Velo.
must be.
I
It's
think
Spanish
so.
velocidad. Yeah, it must be Latin based. Velocity.
But it's awesome. Velo.
Yo.
And it dominated this weekend. Yeah, it dominated. We know it will. It is an awesome one step. It is incredible. Cuts and finishes. It's wonderful.
What do you do for all the other steps, though?
You talk to Luna,
Yeah,
Luna,
yeah,
put on
yeah.
some dance music, and
Exactly. You're bringing another fucking car. That's what
yeah,
you're
that's what
doing.
you do.
Sorry, that's the answer. Yeah, yeah. It's funny actually. I saw something on social that I was really, really happy to see, and this is from a guy that a lot of people will be familiar with probably when I mention what this is. But he's been posting shit for people for free with no end game in mind. And at first, when I saw him posting some stuff, I thought, here we go, another detailer turned fucking coach, turned marketing guru, turned, you know. But he literally stayed true to his word, and he was just posting shit to help people out because he was sick of seeing people bitching in the comments about, oh, it's not possible to do this or do that and stuff. And he's just like, okay, I'll show you guys it is possible. I'll go through my day to day on stuff, you know. Anyway, so I've been seeing his posts and stuff. A lot of OrbisX members follow his posts as well, and so I was like, okay, let me just see what's out there because I started getting questions from them saying, hey, I saw this guy's post and he's saying this. What are your thoughts on it? So I'm like, wow, fuck. All right, now I got to go check out this guy's post to give an educated feedback about it. And to be honest, most of his posts were pretty bang on, but a lot of them are kind of ranting and raving, which I'm not a huge fan of. That kind of therapeutic type shit people do on Facebook. But recently he said, okay, guys, maintenance customers are where it's at. That's it. And I was like, okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. And then he said, if you can keep it under 30 minutes, that's perfect. And I'm like, okay, now we're talking. So he started posting videos. Him and another guy roll up to a house. So he went and he was like, Range Rover, 18 minutes. Boom. Just pumping it out. Then they said, next one, Cybertruck, 23 minutes. They're just pumping these things out. And so they go one location, they follow their process, they do this and that. The interesting part, I mean, because that's good for him and he's doing big numbers, so it's great. He has steady, predictable revenue, recurring, all that good stuff. So he's not worried about, well, how do I pay my guy or how much do I pay my guy? He's this guy's crucial to the business. I'm gonna take care of him. Things are good. So on the other side of it, though, the comments. So he shows up and instantly it says, so and so was live, and it says 18 minutes on a Range Rover. And right away, I was like, fucking hats off, because that's all that guy wants. He just whatever you're doing in that moment, and he said bi-weekly maintenance customer. Perfect. All right. So you can put yourself in the frame of mind that it's like, what are you gonna have to focus on if you're seeing the car in another 14 days? You know what I mean? So, and this guy, he's in Florida, so like to put things in context, what he's working with in terms of climate and stuff like that. But the comments are what took me out, where literally it says Range Rover 18 minutes bi-weekly maintenance customer. One of the first comments, are you doing the interiors?
Fair point. I don't think most people can wash a car in 20 minutes.
No, definitely not. So, definitely not. No. And well, these guys, two guys though, for sure. Two guys.
Okay. I'll say most people listening with another guy still can't wash a car in 20 minutes.
Very, very, very fair point. Yeah. Because if you have the right process and you know what you're doing, and when I say what you're doing, I don't mean I've got tons of experience. I mean, you show up and you know what you're doing in terms of I've got to do X, Y, Z for this vehicle because I just saw it 2 weeks ago. I know the condition of the vehicle more or less. I know this person's driving habits. I keep detailed records in OrbisX of this guy, like where does he go? Is this guy going like off-roading in the desert all the time? Or is this guy just going from here to groceries and home? So you should have some sort of a game plan when you show up so you know what you're doing for that job. 18 minutes might have been their record. Who knows, right? But let's assume it's kind of their average, right? So you got to think, what are they doing in 18 minutes? And I would argue that a lot of people out there in the world are going to try and structure their business around trying to cram as much shit as they can in that 18 minutes and tell the customer, look at all the stuff we're going to do for you every 2 weeks. Instead of, these are the things that we take care of throughout the year as part of your car care package. You may need this one this visit. You might not need it next visit. If your dog hasn't been in your vehicle, I don't have to go start doing a pet hair removal, right? There's different things. So knowing that you explain to the customer the expectations are kind of the average throughout the year, but each particular visit you may or may not touch on certain things, right? So having that game plan in mind is how you can whittle your time down to something like 18 minutes, right? And so if you go and you look and for some weird reason one of the rims is super clean still and the other three are dirty, you could skip or go a little less on that one rim. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you pay attention to certain things like that. So 18 minutes I think is achievable for sure. And is that, I think, what do you do for interiors on that particular job?
Well, hold on. Before you go into interiors, hold on.
All right.
I got to ask this question back to everybody that might be like, wait, I can wash a car. Right? I can do this. I can do like, okay.
Yeah.
It's the other part, that maintenance, that couple of flips of that coin, right? Probably not if they're done every week, which is what I like to do. We don't take 18 minutes. My guy takes 45 on average.
Yeah.
That's, generally if I was doing it by myself, there's a couple people I'd be in and out in an hour and a half. It's perfectly fine with me, right?
Yeah.
2 cars, hour and a half.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's
No, you make $100 cash in an hour and a half.
done deal.
I'm in. Right? I'd always put those people towards an area of town that I was going to be at, maybe a little more towards the end of the day, or some I would do at the very early mornings. Right? You schedule those in the way they are, and then you don't really do a lot. People are like, well, it's not a detail. You're like, it's not supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be a car wash. Like you're supposed to wash it, wipe some stuff down, clean some windows, make sure everything's vacuumed and all dusted. But other than that, I mean, you're not really doing much. The main priorities are that paint needs to pop and that glass needs to be streak free. Other than that, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, 100%. And cup holders. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah, of course. You're right.
The reason I mentioned that
Yeah.
is I just had to have a...
Yeah, you're right.
We'll call it a discussion.
Console.
Of our staff. Yeah.
Call it the console area.
Console, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
had a guy, customer came in, left their coffee cup in the console, and we have a new staff member that left it in there and didn't clean underneath it.
Yeah, can't do
And
that.
his argument was, well, I didn't want to touch their coffee cup in case they were, like, ooh, you touched my coffee cup or something like that. And I said, well, you're wearing gloves, right? And he says, yeah. He says, do you put on new gloves after, like, when you start every job? Yeah. Okay, so those gloves should be relatively sterile. Okay. So why don't you make the first thing you do go and check for all of that shit, move their stuff, and life continues? Because a big thing that he didn't even think about, that a lot of people come in and for some reason they have, I don't know, it's not hanging dice anymore, but they've got shit by their mirror, And
Dice
so,
in the mirror.
yeah,
So
yeah.
can we go little quote here?
Sure.
That dice in the mirror. So I knew this guy was rare, but all good. Your home's too. Where does he go? Do you know the song? There you go. Good job. Nicely done. I probably butchered it, but
Yeah. At least for a captain. Oh man, yeah. You know what's crazy though? I remember watching as a kid, and because it wasn't like now where you have like Netflix and YouTube and all this stuff, and it would play, and so you would hear the intro, but depending on certain episodes or seasons, they would either shorten or lengthen
you're
the
right.
intros, right?
You're
And I
right.
remember the first time I saw like the extended version, and I was like, whoa, it was like a new feature unlocked, a whole new song. Yeah. That's wild. But yeah. Jeez, man, that takes me back. Holy. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so dice in the mirror. Yeah, so little things like that. You remove the dice in the mirror first, but cup holders, these are the kind of things people go look for instantly. And a customer had mentioned it, and he said, yeah, but it did such a great job on the rest of the car. And I said, the customer doesn't care. I said, I asked the customer, I said, when you got in, did you notice anything in the back seat? And she literally told me, oh, I never look back there. She said, that's where my kids sit. I never look back there. It's always a mess. She didn't care at all. She assumed she got it cleaned a little bit, but by and large, it was more take care of the cup holders, the mirrors, the glass, that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, that's so I saw this guy's post though, and it got me thinking about, obviously there's some good lessons for people to learn there about speed, efficiency, how to handle maintenance, contract, all kind of stuff. There's a lot of, we could open that whole can of worms, but on the other side of it, the expectations people are putting on themselves of, well, what do you do for interiors? What do you want to do for interiors? Because this guy's saying, hey guys, maintenance customers are the ticket. That's what we've been preaching for a long time. Oh, guys, efficiency is key. I brought a guy with me, so hiring people is key. You start to digest the actual video, think of what you're seeing, not what you're not seeing, and he says, okay, 18 minutes. You're like, okay, how would it be possible to get time similar or close to what could I do in 18 minutes? Instead of thinking, oh, do you do interiors with it? Like, maybe this guy just does exteriors. Maybe he does interiors on every other car, and so you're seeing one video, he says 18 minutes, but you're not seeing the other job he just came from where he's doing an hour and a half. So in my opinion, focus on what you're seeing instead of what you're not seeing.
But the flip of the side, though, I think a lot of people, and this isn't a shot at them. It's I think that they just mentally can't comprehend. Right.
Doing,
Once again,
like, just
that's
this or just
it's
that.
a very.
Yeah. I know what you meant. Not to say they can't mentally comprehend.
I'm not trying to, but at the same time, go listen. I don't think people can actually mentally comprehend how to do it. I don't think they. I think there's a lot of people that struggle with taking a team member and going, "Hey, if I'm over here on this side of the vehicle, how does a team member do something over here?" And we can both keep working synergistically, so that once I'm done with this, he starts this. Then I'm done with this, he starts this. He's done with this, I start that, and you go around the car together. That is that dance in a sense. That dance with your teammate is the trick. It's the key. It's every part of it. It's so hard to do.
And every team
It's so hard.
different too. Absolutely. And so a good place to start, if you've already got a team or if it's just you and one other person, is communication in terms of what parts of the car are your favorite to do. What do you think you're fastest at? Start
Nope.
there. You don't think so? Oh, shit,
No.
that's what we-
I think you got to force people into telling them what they do. You have this amount of time. You got to be done with that by the time I'm here. That's the way I did it. Like Hey, man, I need you to start on these wheels. I'm going to start washing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I need you to be done with these by the time I'm here.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
that's why I really think it's got to be like that. Like,
Yeah,
stop
we take
clock.
a
Like,
different
hey,
approach
you
to
got
it.
this amount of time here. You got to do this. Like, and then you got to have your towels the right way. I don't, that guy probably didn't do his, start and stop at, as he pulls up or getting things out. I don't know. Maybe. I think there's a lot of people that are going to take 10 minutes just getting things out of their vehicle, right?
Yeah.
You see these posts that people do and they got this, stuff all set up on the driveway and they got all this like, geez, my guy, like, that's a lot of stuff you got there. How long did it take you to get that out? I mean, my stuff didn't look awesome. I had an open trailer, not an enclosed trailer, open.
Yeah, yeah.
I used a lot of milk cartons, right? Like, it didn't look awesome, but it was very practical. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we knew exactly what to do and we hit cars very quickly. And that's the thing, right? To your point, I'm glad you brought it up, but I want a lot of people to take a deep breath and go, listen, make it sound easy. It's very difficult. It's more in the strategy than it is the actual skill. Now, interesting thing, Shawn, you bring this up. Let me go and show you. I will send it to you via Facebook. That's how we love to talk back and forth. I just sent you the update of my screen, how bad the screen is now.
It looks bad.
My screen's terrible, but all right. My mom sent me this best places to start a business.
Ooh. All right. Oh,
Number
nice.
one. Now, this is just general. This is mom is now addicted. She found YouTube.
Nice.
Yes, YouTube's been around for a long time. My mom has
Not for
finally
everybody.
found it.
Not for everybody. That's
Not for everybody. She's found Instagram. So she's starting, which will be interesting is we're going to get into an AI discussion here in a second.
Oh yeah.
She's finding something that I want to get into about AI, but here was best places to start a business. The number one best place to start a business.
Yeah.
Oh, my screen's now completely black.
Oh shoot. I'm sorry.
Number one, a car wash center in front of a shopping mall.
Yeah.
I said, that's perfect, Mom. You remember when I did that? Auto spa at the mall. We were a rinseless, waterless company doing valet and car washing while you shopped. While you shop, we shine was our slogan. And I told her, I said, I think the reason why this guy listed, and you'll see a bunch of stuff listed, and you'll go, or not, you won't see a bunch, but you'll see the ones that are listed, and you'll go, best place to start a business. And each location is about the location because you don't have to do any
marketing.
bingo. Thank you. You don't have to
The
do
first thing I
any
saw when I saw the list that
marketing.
you sent, I was like, oh, it's high traffic area. You just
Yep.
plant yourself down and
Yep.
they will come.
They will come. And that is the dream for most people that get into business. So everybody listening, guarantee you thought that too, right? You go back to Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Like, yeah. No, it takes a lot of work. And the best, if you're not great at marketing, that would be your best way to do. You got to go find some place that has a ton of people.
Yeah.
And there you go. You don't have to market anymore.
Yeah, you just set up the lemonade stand. That's all you do. Yeah.
But Shawn, is that a skill set that you get to promote there? Or is that convenience, ease of use, quality, but not necessarily a skill set of, we're not going to be doing paint correction or heavy deep stain removal or, stuff like that when they're shopping at the mall, right?
True. That's not what they're there for. Yeah. And yeah.
That's not what you're there for either.
Yeah, 100%. And you're not going to build a loyal customer base if you think like you're not going that route, because people are going to move, they're going to change their shopping habits, and the minute that they're gone from that location, no one's going out of their way to drive to the mall to come see
No.
car wash guy that's outside of the mall. It's just not going to happen. Like it's just not. It's a convenience thing. It's you're here, so sure, like yeah, I'm going to be inside there. Well, yeah, do whatever with my car, and then just don't scratch it, don't whatever, and I'll see you in a bit. But they're not expecting the works, that's for sure. And if you want, and don't get me wrong, very profitable outfit, hugely, hugely. It all just depends on what your goals are, what you want. That can be a very good strategy as well. There is still some work to get in, I would say, in a lot of places. It's not like, the owner of the mall or the parking lot is just waiting for someone to show up and start washing cars there. There's going to be some legwork you have to do. But once you're in, you're golden, right? Unless the thing that I dislike about that, if you're looking for a long-term business, is that so much of that's out of your hands.
Oh yeah, which was our problem, right?
Yeah,
Like, the mall promised us this, promised us that, and never
exactly.
happened. And like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I knew a guy here. He was doing that at one of the malls, and they decided that they were going to completely reno their aging parking structure, and so that's been an ongoing project now for 4 years. And so it's a huge one. So
Hmm.
granted, he had a lot of foot traffic, but now he's been 4 years not there, and he's been trying to kind of keep some of the clients that said like, oh yeah, I'll put my info in your CRM. Sure, he's been trying to get them to come see him.
Hmm.
It's been a struggle, and so
Yeah.
yeah, we basically have him subcontracted doing work for us while he's waiting for his life to get rebuilt. It's one of those things, man. It's just that's what happens though, and so
All
yeah,
right. So what I was talking about earlier is something that she talked to me about. She was like, "Well, I'm not sure about," and that was something. I was like,
yeah, yeah.
"Mom," I said, "it's going to be very difficult for you to understand this." I said, "It's going to be even more difficult for you now that you're, looking at social media or YouTube or watching things.
Yeah.
It's going to be even more difficult for you for a moment to decipher between AI and real."
Yeah.
And I
And it's
go,
going to get increasingly challenging.
"It is." And so I want to throw this discussion out there to you.
All right.
Will AI be like VR, or will AI be like the internet and social media? Because VR was supposed to be the next thing.
Yeah.
I I'll leave tomorrow to go see my wife. She's been gone, what now, 3 weeks. I'll spend 10 days in Brazil. I'll go to Rio, and then we're going to like some mountain thing for a really cool beer festival. But then we're going to that place I told you about, Bugios.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. I'm so excited. I'll send
Oh,
you that. I'm ready.
yeah. Congrats, man.
Yeah. But, well, I don't know about all that. But is the idea of what's real, what's not real, what's going to work, what's not going to work, what's going to stay long term, what should we adapt to and start now? What should we hold off and go, I'm not sure. And the,
You know what?
the videos that she's seen on YouTube, the videos that I see, the videos that I see on social media, like I said earlier, it's difficult to decipher, but once you learn what to look for, I personally have stopped watching the VR videos, anything. Whether that's YouTube, because like I said, I mean, a lot of times at night, YouTube, I like to turn on like ocean waves or something, scenery with nature, right? Something. And I got into this habit where I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's VR. It's cool. Like they did some cool stuff, and it's like, yeah, this is good. I'll let that go. And it's like, wait, I robbed the guy that took the time to edit, to produce, to do all that, and rewarded the jackass who just used VR and is now making money off of VR. And you're like, it's so easy, you got to do it. You're right. You should if that's your ticket. My ticket's never been the easy train. So I'm really interested to go, when will humans start pushing back against AI, or will we never? And it'll just come along us
It'll
and will always
expose.
be our team member, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's a good
yeah.
question, man. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I have a very interesting theory because I'm a big proponent of AI and I absolutely love AI. And I get into arguments and debates with people all the time about AI stuff. And my thinking actually is that the current trend that we're seeing right now, I'm going to make a prediction right now, but the current trend we're seeing right now with AI is actually going to collapse in a way and make way for something else. Because what's happening now is you get a lot of, especially on YouTube, a lot of these AI generated videos where it'll even be someone that you know. So a good case in point is like Joe Rogan, stuff like that. Like a lot of these really, popular influencers and podcasters, they show up in people's feeds and reels, and it seems like they're saying something. It's done very much in his style, but it's not him. And a lot of people get upset at the end of it,
Yep.
right? And I think that two things are going on there. One, human beings don't like being tricked. That's a big thing. We do not like being tricked. When we find out something isn't what we thought it was, especially we're very visual people, we're sensory in a whole, like even hearing, like the speech. If it's off, we're like, no, something's not right here. We don't like it. I think what's going to happen is actually there's going to be a whole movement and something's going to give way for making things appear more AI based and less reality based. I think there's actually going to be a premium on content where we are 100% aware
Wow.
this content was made by AI, because it also credits the source. And so the reason that we watch certain things, like what National Geographic's a big one, right? They were using the same guy's voice for like 60 years or something. You know what I mean? Like he came out the womb doing those videos, and it became a sense of like reassurance when you were watching, whether I'm watching something about water buffalo.
Do you think it's like the check mark on Facebook or Instagram?
Yes,
the verified?
100%. And I think that if we know, oh, this video was made by AI, we're going to actually start to trust it in a way if it's presented to us not as a trick and we know it's done some research. Hear me out. As it gets better, when it's used alongside.
Man, Will Smith, iRobot, I get it.
No, true, but reality is this. It does a lot of things well, and then there's some things it doesn't do very well, and there's some things that it does an okay job of, but we don't need to perfect because we're going down the wrong route. Like perfecting AI's ability to completely replicate you and I so that we wouldn't have to do a podcast anymore, and instead it's just going to be my AI and your AI talking it out in the podcast. There's no intrinsic value there for the audience on the other end, because it won't matter if it's Marshall and Shawn. It could be Chad and Tim. It doesn't matter who it is at that point then, because it's not us having that discussion, right? And I think that
what I'm saying, you're saying the same thing like what I'm saying with like the videos. I realize it's AI. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, 100%. It turns you off because you're like, I didn't come here for that. But when you do go to AI for a certain thing, you want it to do that certain thing well. And that's where I think a lot of people, for example, struggle with reading and writing.
What about the new platform? Who's going to create the new Facebook or the new whatever? And they're going to go, will never have AI.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean.
Maybe.
It's almost like the online version of camping.
Listen, I'm with you. I love AI.
Yeah.
I use mine all the time, right? I use the ChatGPT. I love Luna. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I do.
There's
It's
something
such a great tool.
Yeah. And that's a good point, though. There is going to be, like, we have all this amazing technology at our fingertips, but yet as human beings, we still strive for those moments. We almost brag about them. Like, I can't wait till I finish work so I can shut down my computer, so I can turn off the email. I can't wait to go on that trip with my family so I can, everyone, phones on the table, turn them upside down. We love technology, but yet we are still striving to get those moments where we unplug, And so I agree. I think I guess one could argue that the social media without AI is going to be just family dinner, really.
Right, but who will want, I think there's going to be some people that just go, yeah, but that's what I want. AI does so good for them visually.
Yeah.
That is going to be what they want. Will the people that push back be the minority, and so minority, they don't mean anything, and it's not going to, we're just going to be those guys, right?
Yeah, no.
We'll be the old fuckers.
We'll be the old ones that are like just not,
Yep.
clinging on to the good old ways. Yeah. How I've seen the slow adoption for VR headsets and even the smart glasses, the slow adoption to those technologies, I think is an indicator that we still want to maintain, as a society and as human beings, certain sensory things on our own. Like, I still want to be able to visually see the room. I don't want to have the room produced for me, where I'm sitting in a furnitureless room and AI is just filling in, like, oh, Sean's having a bad day today. Let's put a plant in the corner. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna want to get there. But and like you said, maybe I'm gonna be one of those.
Joe, there's some people that will. I really, yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think there
that's
will.
true. But
Yeah.
I do think though that there's always going to be a resurgence of people that want to go the other way. Like where you look at, like, you and I both own Remarkables, right?
Hmm.
And what do we love about the Remarkable? We have all this technology. You can do almost the same thing on an iPad, but we like the fact that it's distraction free, that it's not connected. You know what I mean? And so I think that, and there's a whole movement, like they've sold millions and millions of units. I think there is always going to be a movement of people that's greater, that want a mix of technology and, like, look, we have cars that could take you everywhere, but people still want to go for a walk together. It's still one of the biggest questions that people write on their profiles places. What do you like? Long walks on the beach? Ha ha ha. Like, it's still, why is it not a long scooter ride on the beach or something? You know what I mean? Like, those options are there, but we still choose the path of resistance in a way because it helps us feel more human. Versus if everything's just done for you and it's too easy, you remove what we consider to be the purpose of life. I think where you're supposed to struggle a little bit. Like, even love is supposed to be a struggle. You're supposed to go on dates and it's supposed to be kind of hard and you fumble and you this and that. You're supposed to write a poem from your heart that you're gonna fuck up and not say the right words all the time, right? But if it's just AI doing all that for you, you lose all that authenticity and that specialness where your wife's like, oh great, you remembered flowers again, thanks ChatGPT. You know what I mean? Like, there's that human element we can't replace, I think. But if you use AI in certain aspects as an aid, I think that will always be there and that will continue to improve. I found a really good one, actually, I wanted to mention, because I found something cool. I obviously always promote Luna, Luna, Luna. We have a very, very good place for our AI within the automotive space. However, there are tools that we're probably never going to work on or develop because there's other players that specialize in exactly that, and there's not as big a use case for us to just invest millions of dollars building this out. But there's AIs like Harda and stuff like that they do video creation. So if you do want to get into that virtual type stuff, there's companies out there that do that, and they specialize in only that. But getting access to all these things, next thing you know, you have a subscription here and a subscription there and a subscription here. You're all over the place. So there's one though called Abacus, and for one subscription, you get access to all different types of LLMs. And so through there, you have access to all the Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, all of them. But you can use this thing called routing, where you put in a prompt, and then it'll choose which one is the best one to answer that particular prompt.
Oh.
Yeah, which is super powerful. And they even have a lip syncing one, which I recommended to someone recently because they wanted to do some social media, but they wanted it to be someone from their company of sorts. Them is what they were hoping for, but they didn't want to be in front of the camera. Super shy. They do know what to say, but just super shy. And so, go ahead.
No, I,
Okay, so
I
they
ADD thought in my head, but I was like trying not to interrupt you. I was just
fair, no problem. So I helped him
taking a
out
breath.
with literally. So he signed up to Abacus. It was like, I think it's $10 a month, something like that, for the base plan. Signed up, and you can create a ton of videos with that, but you could do a million other things as well. But in this case, he was just making videos. So I said, what you need to do is make a plan of your next upcoming promotions, and then what you're trying to do, because those are going to be easy to figure out. If you want to do it, like Cyber Week sale or Black Friday, like that kind of stuff is easy for most people, I think, to kind of put together a promotion for. It's the gaps in between. That's what I told them to focus on. That's where you want yourself to be present in your marketing and your posts and so on and so forth. But if you're camera shy, take some photos of yourself with nice backgrounds, with you in the shop, things like that. And with just a photo, you can go into Abacus and you can type in, hey, putting together a 30 to 60 second video. I'm going to be posting it on social media. Here's what I want to talk about. It'll make you the script. You can either upload your own voice, or you can just choose a voice and the AI will do it for you. And then just from a photo, it creates an animated video of you talking and your mouth is actually moving to the thing. You've probably seen these online. You just maybe weren't sure how they did it or where they did it. And Abacus is the place you need to go to. So just from a photo, you can create these videos, super powerful, very compelling. You can choose different voices. It's pretty cool. So
So I sent you a Facebook message. I think maybe it's one similar. I think, but it's basically let's ask this question, which I think people should be asking themselves: should you be using AI right this moment, July 2025? The answer is 100% yes. Like
not only
yes,
that, I would argue you should be using AI right now for 1 hour a day.
great,
100%.
great, maybe 10. I mean, now's the time to take the advantage. The advantage is not in a year when everybody's doing it, and then in 2 years, once it gets way overdone, and then people start retaliating, right? That is the way it goes. Everything takes a big surge up, then it plateaus, and then it falls, right? So on that surge, fuck yeah. Why would, I mean, you're the idiot if you don't use it, right? The one I sent you was this TikTok of Bigfoot on foot. Nick, my partner, sent it to me. This guy's hilarious, right?
It's the best.
Oh, they're great. I mean, could you create a Instagram, a TikTok, something that is just funny with AI and then tie in your business? That would be the genius. That would be the genius. Some way of creating something funny and using AI and tying in your business. But I would throw some caution to the wind in a sense and go, don't know what I'd try and be serious with AI. I don't think those videos will come up. I think people like me will go, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to swipe. No, not for me. But if you're funny
Yeah.
and you go, well, listen, I'm not funny. Like, listen, I'm not funny either. But AI could be funny, right? You talk to
100%.
Luna and you say, hey, put this in a humor type context.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
And you can even say, I'm in this city, this region. I need something that could potentially be, viral, or at least on my local level. Something that would resonate with the local people here. Maybe AI comes with something funny about a local, football team or something like that. Or maybe it checks the news in your region, and maybe there was some scandal or something with the mayor. Like, who knows? There's stuff that could happen. AI will look up all those things for you, give you some ideas, and the best part is that you're not paying a marketing company to sit around, charge you thousands of dollars to think of these ideas that you might ultimately be like, nah, next, and then you're paying again for a fresh set of ideas. This way you can just hone in on something pretty quickly, and you just tell AI, like, nice try again. That one wasn't good. And you just keep the process going. But that's where production costs, I don't think people are understanding the world we're living in right now, where, like, if you had to go film a video before, the amount of work and the amount of money, the expenditures alone, in a lot of cases, a lot of companies, they've had to fly out, we got to bring staff from here and bring them out to Los Angeles. There's a company there, they do all the filming, they have the green screens, this, that, everything. It's like a $400,000 investment for a lot of companies. But now, those same companies are having to compete with guys that are coming up using AI video stuff. They'll come in, Marshall flies out, they sit them down, they film one session, charge $8,000, and then they say, don't worry, anytime you're doing a future ad now, our AI now has your likeness and your voice, and it can just produce edits and make new videos on the fly, and it's going to cost you $1,000 a pop. And it's like, holy shit, let's go, all day long. So that's the world that we're transitioning into now, and you have to embrace it to some capacity. There's definitely going to be people out there that are like, this is AI, I don't like it. There's going to be anti-AI people, so on and so forth. But there's also going to be a lot of people that don't know, don't care, or actually enjoy it. And so the time is now to capitalize on that before we hit that plateau where everyone's using it, everyone's doing the same thing. And the biggest thing you should focus on, my piece of advice on this, my tip would be, focusing on actual community and engagement, and focus on
Community.
something that's local. Community, absolutely. Because people oftentimes equate views to success and sales. Views are just views. They don't actually build shit. And what you need to do is focus on building actual engagement within the community. You would do far better off having videos that only got 100 views each, but they were videos that you're reaching the right person. They're going to share it with somebody or talk about it or something, and you just hammer them with multiple videos. They're going to start seeing it more and more in their feed. Those are going to lead to more sales than just random videos you're throwing together just for the sake of throwing it together. And something that's too professional, I agree. Using AI, don't get too serious with it. Don't use it. If AI is great for making training manuals, things like that, helping out with hiring and firing practices, when it comes to making a video for your business to be posting online, AI is great at generating the video, helping create the script, but ultimately use the human side of you to give it prompts and instructions and say, hey, listen, I need something that's going to help my business gain some presence in the local market. This is where I'm at. These are the kind of festivals we have. This is the kind of energy or vibe of the people here. These are the age demographics. Help feeding it some information, because if you don't, it's going to go willy-nilly and just try and figure it out. And so, for example, it might look at the city and say, oh, most of the people here, the median age is 60 years old. It's going to now create content for 60-year-olds, but you might be looking at it and saying, I'm trying to build long-time customers. Maybe I want to target 24-year-olds. Who knows? Maybe your sweet spot is a 60-year-old, and it looks at the demographics and says, oh, the average age is like 28. Well, you've got to tell it, who do you want to target? How do you want it to sound? What's the tone? What's the visual representation? Do you want a man and a woman in the video? Just a man? Do you want this type of voice? Whatever. The better instructions you give it, the more success you're going to have in the end result. But it needs those parameters to work within. So just pretend you're having that conversation with the fancy, expensive marketing department and say, hey, this is what we're looking to do. This is what we're looking to create. The only difference is it's going to cost you a lot less, and you're going to get it back instantly. And you can tell it, you didn't quite hit the mark. Try again. And it'll just do it right away. No complaints, no HR issues, nothing. It just does it again. And then you plug that into something like Abacus, where you do that lip sync voice thing, or the video thing, just from a picture. Like, to live in that world right now, and then to see people still posting static pictures on their social media, I'm just like, guys, the numbers have been there for a decade plus. Video is trumping everything. Everything. So now you can make videos with very little effort. You don't even need a camera aside from the one that's already in your pocket. So there's no excuses now. So check out Abacus 100%, because you're going to be able to do a lot with that. I could go more on that, but I'll save it for another day. But you can build chat agents. There's all kinds of crazy shit you can do with Abacus. It's pretty cool. There will also be an integration coming where Abacus and OrbisX talk together as well, so you'll be able to do this directly in there. Ooh. So any of the gaps that Luna has will be filled, by Abacus. So that's the goal here, guys, is to give you more tools and information. But that's how I would be using AI in this day and age. And so this entire video is brought to you by AI. We're not actually in the studio at the moment. No, I'm just kidding. It'd be crazy. But I will share a video that I did make as a test in the group with AI.
So let me ask you this question, because
sure.
Let's see, 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. Had it was at Mobile Tech. Had the stick. No, this was the next one. This was 2022. 2021. All those brands, they didn't want to go. We were dominating, so they canceled it. Got everybody to cancel Mobile Tech. 2022, we come back. We put on the big show. People have started to copy us by that time. Other people were putting on shows at expos. But at this one, I had two people, one from a towel company, one from a computer company. And, they were pretty adamant. It's okay to fake it till you make it. People can go back and listen to those episodes. I actually paused and was like, wait, why are you saying this? I've been pretty adamant of not faking it till you make it. And I talk about all the weaknesses, all the failures, all the struggles I've had.
Yeah.
One of those guys in particular, the computer guy now is doing videos like he has made it. And you go, interesting. You're now educating people, but then you were telling it's okay to fake it. All right, interesting. I guess over 5 years, you've grown and you've gotten some education and you've developed into, and you feel like you're okay to do that now. I want to stay on that premise of fake it till you make it and go, okay, not ever something I've wanted to do, not the camp I'm in, but seeing him still be out there and now kind of arriving at a new place in his life, and he faked it enough to where now that I don't know, is he still faking that he made it? And there's the question. Can you fake it till you make it, or are people just faking it all along, even when supposedly they make it? Don't know.
Yeah.
And then do we ask the question inside of that question? Well, okay, maybe I'm somebody that does not want to judge them. Maybe I don't really care if they're still faking it. I just want to tag onto those coat strings and just kind of do what they're doing. This would be the perfect time. If you're one of those people, you have to get into AI. You have to get into showing all kinds of stuff. You really need, and I thought of these guys, and especially the computer guy, and I'm like, man, I wonder if he had AI back then. I wonder what he would have done
What
with
he would have done.
how much faking till he made it will, listen, he's the one on record saying it, not me. So I'm just a guy asking the questions. And even one of the guys that came at me later, I go, listen, man, I'm just the guy that gives the beer away. Right? That was what I did then. I gave a lot of beer away. So, it is interesting when people fake it till they make it. And should we use AI to eventually think that we're going to make it to some place? What is that place, Shawn? And if we continue to fake, are we never arriving?
I would argue.
How do we use AI to, arrive someplace but not fake it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think ultimately you still have to put in the work on things, because what always scared me about that sentence, the fake it till you make it, is that you're building a house that's so fragile because you're not actually building the foundation of it, and so it doesn't take much for it to just fall.
People just want to make it, though. We really just want to arrive at the point where I have everything.
But that's the thing, is it's what's the destination, because as fast as you can make it that way is as fast as you can lose it as well, right? And so a good case in point is I've been in many different industries, many different businesses over the years, and anytime I go start a new venture, I've always been asked the same question. It's like, well, aren't you scared? Like, what if that doesn't work out? I'm like, I'm not worried at all, because over the years, I've built up so many different muscles in business that I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine whatever I'm doing, because I built up those skills. I didn't have to fake anything to make it. And I would actually argue that the longevity of your business depends more on you leaning into those faults. I think customers I think they're interested in the story, man. I think they're interested in the authenticity. There's people that are interested in the people that have made it, quote unquote, but they don't care about the process. But I'd say that's why this whole phenomenon of people see these influencers on TikTok and stuff, and they're, oh man, that guy made it. Well, how much is this course? $497? Sign me up. Because they're not interested in the process, they're interested in the destination. But that destination doesn't really exist. They're selling you a point on the map, this 5-star hotel that doesn't exist. It hasn't been built yet. So there is no destination to go to. And I think that's the problem. And that's why they can never have enough. Like I've seen influencers that, as you know, we love gardening. We were watching a lot of gardening channels, and there's been 2 people that we saw putting in the work day in, day out, and they were filming everything. Their husband would go, and she was like, oh, I want to plant, this and this all along that whole fence. He'd go, he was tired, he fucked up, he planted everything on the wrong side. They filmed the whole thing, and they were like, this is what happens sometimes, and we had to undo all the work and then redo it. We've been following them for like 5 years now, their whole journey, and it's just been incredible. They now sell seeds and all kind of stuff. They've made it to a certain destination, but we were along through that whole journey, so we now buy a lot of seeds from them, and they sell merch and all kinds of stuff. But then there's other ones that we saw they looked like they were. I was like, man, they had their own seed line. They had this and that. Come to find out, they're not actually doing anything to grow their own seeds. Nothing. They're just white labeling somebody else's stuff. And then they were the ones that released the. Unfortunately, me and my wife are going through a separation. It's not working out. We've been trying to, work around the clock, answering everybody's comments and stuff. And unfortunately, we just can't do this. Being a YouTuber is really hard, and that whole sob story. And the reason that was happening is because they hadn't built up those muscles over time, where it's like answering customer emails. Like even now, I answer people's questions around the clock, and even my own staff are like, Shawn, how do you do that? Like, what do you not sleep? Do you not need some you time and stuff? And I'm like, I don't even notice it anymore, man. Like I've just been doing this so long, this doesn't even feel like work to me. This is not work, And I'm like, so if I work, 10, 12 hours in a day, I'm like, okay, so I got like maybe 2 more hours left. Like that's just what goes on in my brain. And for them, they're like, nah, man, I would never do that. And it's, I know you wouldn't. But that's also
So if somebody doesn't want to put in the work, right? Like,
yeah,
when I first started putting out videos, I've shared the story multiple times. Nick, my partner, the first time he and I talked, he's like, hey, man, you got a moment? Can I chat with you? Because he had watched some of the stuff I'd put out. He listened to the episodes. I was like, sure, man, give me a call. Here's my number. I was doing yoga, stretching, and editing videos at the same time. I mean, it was like 8:30 at night, and he calls me.
yeah.
We chatted for like an hour or so, and that's what I was doing. I was laying on my living room floor, trying to stretch and edit videos at the same time. I think a perfect way for people to, if you go, listen, how do I start I just want to dip my toe into AI. Start there. I wish I would have had AI being able to edit my videos so I didn't have to go put everything in there, do this, like make this down and put this, like chop this, chop that. Like, it became something I did every night. It was something regular, like it was part of my routine.
And
I was like, wow.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah, if I had AI, I could use AI to do things that it doesn't necessarily need me for, right? But then I don't have to fake anything. I just need to. That's what we talk about. Does AI come alongside of us, right?
Yeah.
Are we the people that partner with AI to come alongside of us, not out in front of us, not out behind us, but right next to us, like a partner, like a spouse
100%.
in a sense.
100%. And that's where, to me, it's just a tool to use, and I don't see that as faking it because, using your example, you weren't trying to become a video editor. Video editing was just one of the tasks you had to do in the whole big pie of all your tasks that you had to do. And so it's the same as me. I use AI to do all kinds of stuff. So usually, if I'm still coding after 6 p.m., I have AI double and triple check my code. And the reason for that is because I know by that time of night, my eyes aren't the same as they were in the morning. I've had a couple coffees and went through a little bit of a crash. I still have some work to do, and it's going to be quality work, but is it as good as it was when I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 9 a.m.? Probably not. So I use AI, hey, check over my work, and then before I launch, I just wait till the morning, I give it another review, and I do it again. But if AI notices something that, hey, you missed this, or you need to fix that or whatever, okay, I implement it. But that's not faking it. I'm still putting in the work. But do I have to fill the role of someone that's overseeing my work as well? Do I have to fill the role of editing a video? Do I have to, even the transcripts for these podcasts? Yeah, I could go and write those, but am I a transcriptor now? Is that what I do? Am I a caption creator? Or can we use AI to, hey, AI, go through and watch this video, break down each chapter, all the things we talked about, stuff like that, so I can just post it, because that's what we're doing. So we're still putting in the work, though. I have to put in research before we do episodes of things I have to notate as things are happening throughout my week that I wouldn't normally write down because it's just my lived experience, but because I'm like, oh, I have to remember, talk about that on the episode or something like that. So I'm still doing everything I need to do for the business, but finding ways to use AI to go alongside me to help me be more efficient at what I'm doing and to take over some of the tasks that I don't want to do, am not good at, or can't do. That's where AI fills those gaps. So it kind of makes you a superhuman, but Iron Man still gets in the suit. You know what I'm saying? It's just, the suit is just there to make him better at what he's doing, right? But you still ultimately have to put in the work.
And don't do the stupid photos or videos that are your face and inside of like Which is why you were talking to me. I just one thing came to my mind was just this guy that he right days after he does these he does like these people that hate on me, and it's like, no, they're not hating on you, man, they're laughing at you because
Yeah.
you do this AI photo of you, and it's like, let me tell you about how great I am, this is my superpower, and this is da 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 da. It's like, yeah, man, that people aren't like hating on you. They're laughing at you because you were hugging up to some dude the photo before that, you were this way. And it's like, there's no cohesive thought to marketing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a bunch of shit getting thrown out there, hoping that maybe I can just put out enough stuff and maybe I'll eventually make it. Like, nah, that don't work either, right?
Yeah.
You can't do
It's
that.
true.
You need to have a very specific path for how you're going to use AI marketing to draw customers in, not put out your own personal vendettas or your own personal views and, use AI to create this new. Don't do that. Don't do that unless it's on your personal page. But don't dare think that, you know,
Yeah.
you named your business after you and then you on your personal page are talking like, no, man, that doesn't work. Doesn't work.
It's true. And that's where, I think one of the biggest misconceptions or things that's been pushed is just quantity. A lot of these like super influencers, they were just telling people at their conferences and stuff, people would be like, oh, I'm 22 and I want to make it big doing whatever. What should I do? And they're like,
Well, back then it was.
post every day. Post
You
every day.
needed to post, and not just every day. You need to post 5 to 6 times. What I used to do,
Absolutely.
I'd
But
post
back then it
multiple
was
times a
different.
day. It took a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely. But now, a lot of those old videos, so someone might have said that, let's say 2015, let's say.
That was the
But
time.
now that same video is being cut up and reshared online in 2025 as if it's a current theory or a current working practice in marketing. And people are like, oh shit, that's all I need to do, just quantity. Oh yeah, I didn't like my pizza at Bob's Pizza Shop. I need to post about it because people are going to hear about it and they're going to.
You're so right. You're so right.
And it's like, man, no, the world has changed significantly. The algorithms are really good at delivering people exactly what they want to see. Like if you look at your feed, you're going to see primarily things that you either hover
Almost
on
too good.
almost
Like if
too-
I accidentally stall too long
yeah,
look
it's
at,
like,
I'm
no,
like,
it's
fuck.
there.
Sure enough, 3
Yeah.
posts later, I'm scrolling. Here comes an
Here it
advertisement
comes
for
again. It's like,
something that's similar to that. I was like, God damn
it's
it.
true. It's to the
Little
point where,
Saints, right? When I was talking about those like mushrooms and those drinks, like
yeah,
you just look on it, and next thing I know, I'm like, I looked at a wine thing earlier. Next thing I know, all these different wines. I was like, oh,
yeah, they just pop up, and it's like, ah, shit. Now you have to be careful what you say around your phone. You have to this and that, and it's to the point that you're right. They're too good that we have to actually. They've implemented buttons. You have to actually go say not interested. I've seen it too much, or like irrelevant, whatever. You have to now take action.
was
to
it
tell them-
YouTube that used to have a dislike button and they took it off?
Yeah, they took it off. Yeah.
It was
They're
such
like,
that was a terrible thing. I love the
know.
dislike button.
Oh yeah, big time. They were like, oh, it promotes negativity, bullying, and all that kind of stuff, And so it's like, yeah, but no, some of the stuff on your platform is trash. Like,
Exactly.
that was our way of
Needs
letting
to be
them know.
said. This is terrible.
Yeah, it needs to be said. It's true, and that's where. So it's not just quantity. Quantity is always still important. I'm a big believer in volume and just all things in business. However, quality, in my opinion, will always trump quantity. When you can do quality in quantity, now you're winning. And that's where a lot of people just approach this as a quantity mindset with no fucking plan in place at all. And you have to have a plan.
Absolutely.
You absolutely have to have a plan.
Let me give you an example.
Example.
Terrible marketing
Yeah.
that cost this lady, I don't know how much.
Oh shit.
I don't. Because when I saw her, she's with the megaphone and she was sweating and she was this like about holding the sign about some 2 kings, and she's one of those people. It seems interesting when there's one segment of political sides that get in office, then the other side just creates these protests, right? Before it was Black Lives Matter, now it's 2 kings. Let's just say it again. I'm non-political. I don't vote. I just get to take the outside looking in perspective. So if I step on your toes, don't come at me. I'm just calling it like it is, okay? I don't vote either side. This lady in Tulsa, Oklahoma at 71st and Memorial, you want to talk about the amount of traffic, is one of the busiest intersections in our state.
Oh, shit.
Perfect place to go show people what it is you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Large lady, let's not be politically correct, she was fat.
Yeah.
She was a fat, overweight slob with a sign here and another sign here and a megaphone and like a cooler and a towel. And she's like holding her sign and yelling at people while they drive by. And you sitting, too fat to stand,
Holy
sitting,
shit. Sitting.
waving a sign and yelling at people in their cars with a megaphone.
Holy shit.
No clue what she had to say. I wasn't going to roll down my window and hey, say it louder. I can't hear you, but you just go, guys, I mean, you got to understand the amount of effort that is being given with what is actually going to return.
Yeah, 100%. That's a perfect example right there.
It really is. You can't just yell out into everything about what you're doing. You're going to waste your time, waste your effort. Poor lady had, a cooler and she was trying to drink water and she was sweating because she's fat and it's like 90 degrees. Like,
Jesus.
it just, did that attract, do you think that attracted?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. There's a million things she could have done differently, even if she only did it just once. So she was probably there for like hours, right? But maybe one well-crafted email to the right person might have accomplished more. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just saying that compared to what she did do, if I was to look at it, like just imagine you're her marketing person. Let's just assume she was a business.
Imagine, yeah, there you go. It wasn't political and it was a business. There you go.
So imagine that lady is going to be your fucking mascot. You know, the one that goes out flipping the signs and stuff like that. So, okay, you're going to put her on the corner and she's got the towel around her head. She's sitting on a chair and she's just yelling at cars as they pass by. Or are you going to say, maybe we should just spend a little money on some printing and put it up yard signs or put it on the telephone poles or who knows. Or maybe hire somebody just to do what she's going to do, but they're dressed up really nice and they're waiting for, people to stop at the light and they go up and deliver a message, give a postcard, whatever. There's different ways that could have been approached that would have been far more effective. And that would be a great use case for AI to say, hey, listen, here's what I'm thinking of doing. Do you think this is an utter waste of time? And do you have any suggestions? And if you're adamant to go through with it and you're going to bring your chair and sit down and megaphone and scream at people, ask AI, I'm going to go through with the plan. Any recommendations or advice? Anything I could do to improve? It takes you 15 seconds just to ask that one question. And then you're going to get an answer back that could lead to drastically different results. And so instead of posting quantity, I'm going to post every day, and I was told I got to talk about local neighborhoods and pizza and this and that and politics and what the score of the game was last night, all this shit. Instead of doing all that, just take a second, and instead of spending an hour doing that, take 15 minutes, talk to AI, make a plan. If you're not sure what the plan is, ask for the plan. Say, I'm looking to do some marketing. I want to post on these networks.
What should I expect in return?
Absolutely, because without an end goal, you have no way to gauge their performance. Like that lady went home because she didn't have this is the result I want in the end. She's probably just convinced herself through sheer delusion it was a success today.
She checked the box.
She checked the box. And it's so much more than checking the box. Checking the box, that was 2015 and earlier. Now it's...
Well, hold on. I said that almost in a sense people can remember the previous conversation we had about should a detailer even be on social media?
Even bother.
You just need to check that box and put it out there.
Yeah.
Or what we're talking about now is if I really want to make a difference and use social media, use AI, I can't just check the box.
You got to understand, that box has 15 other boxes underneath
Yeah.
it, and you got to check them all. You just have to. So if you're going to go that route, that you're right. That's the decision to make. Do I bother checking the box or do I not? And if you do, understand that there's 15 other boxes there you got to check.
Because if not, you'll be the lady on the side of the road yelling at people as they keep
Yeah.
driving by.
Nobody knows
Nobody
what.
will ever know what you're talking about. They'll never buy from you. You'll just become noise
Yeah.
as they scroll.
Yeah. And then you're going to be the person online saying, tried social, didn't work.
Bingo.
It's like, no, social tried you. You didn't work. That's what happened. Because basically, because the tools are there, guys. Absolutely, you got to use them. I implore everybody this week that's coming, spend 1 hour a day on ChatGPT, Luna. Check out Abacus, the one I mentioned earlier. Just 1 hour a day. Check them out. Ask some questions, test out different things. You could start with something in your personal life. Maybe your dog is not feeling well, or who knows, maybe you're looking for a new workout regime or dietary plan. I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe your zipper's broken. It could be so much shit. Just check it out. But you'll notice the shift is happening. You have to use it because if you were to ask people 10 years ago, you had a room full of business owners and you said, how many of you are using, Google for search for everything to answer all your questions? The whole room would stand up. But now if you ask that same room full of people, how many of you are checking with AI first? You're looking for, instructions on how to do this or that. You're going to see a large percentage of that room is standing up. And that's the reality of things. That's the route we're going. So you need to start focusing there. And you got to think, if Google had all that information, Google has their own, social network in a way, by way of Google reviews, the Google My Business profile and stuff, a social network for businesses in a way. If they have those things, but they've invested millions and billions of dollars really in AI, and all these other companies are doing it. Facebook has their own social network. They created Llama. You look at all these companies that are making AI, there's a reason for it. Not just because it's trending, because these companies aren't going to spend billions of dollars just continuing a trend. They're going to do their research and they're going to realize, holy shit, there's an opportunity here. We got to jump on board.
Yep.
And so how can you capitalize on that? And you got to start using the same tools. But keep the human aspect because you're still dealing with humans and that's what they want to come for. Just in closing, you mentioned that trend with the mushroom drinks and the new generation that is going through this transformation that we as the older dogs might not quite understand because we came from a different generation, but assess that person. So if you see that trend is happening, instead of just being like, oh, that's cool, and then continue scrolling, think about that person because that's your future customer. What does that person that's very much into their wellness and appearance, how does your marketing need to change for that demographic? And asking ChatGPT is a great place to start, or Luna, or Abacus, at least some AI for 1 hour a day. Because if you think of that market and you say, this person cares about their appearance, their health, their well-being, they likely care about cleanliness, car care, and the biggest takeaway from today would be they care about routine and ritual. Because that's what that all has to do with. And so maintenance customers tie into that very well. So ask ChatGPT, ask Luna, ask Abacus, ask us, fucking message me. I don't care. Ask something. How can I make a correlation between this new trend that I'm seeing and the marketing that I'm doing in my neighborhood?
Yeah, great talk.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you too, man. I'm glad you brought that up. I had so much other shit to talk about today, and then the minute you mentioned AI, I was like, ooh, let's go. Awesome. So appreciate you as always, man. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We'll have some more delights for you. And we'll have some exciting news because the customer hub is almost done. I'm so excited. So I'll keep you posted on that. And there's going to be more AI in there as well as HyperClean products. So I'll keep you posted. Of course, man. Oh, and check out Velo, man. Velocidad. Let's go. Velo. Yeah. He said because Velo Velocidad. Sorry. Velo. See, now I'm fucking up the name.
Dude, I mess it up all the time. Nick has to correct me. I think yesterday he was almost getting pissed. He was like, oh, dude. It's like, I know. It's a glitch. It's a glitch in my mind. I got to get that glitch out. It's like,
yeah, you know what? You'll have to put a slogan on the thing. Be like, you may mess up the name, but it always works.
There you go.
Kind of like how Bucky's, it was like, tastes like crap, but it works. It's like... But anyways, awesome, guys. Marshall, appreciate you as always. Guys, we'll see you next week. And tune into Pints of Polishing podcast as well. They've got some fire coming down the pipes. Talk soon. All right. Cheers.